How does tragedy affect us? Can we ever truly overcome the most traumatic events of our life, such as the death of someone we care about? When I was a freshman in college, I came to blame myself for the death of someone I cared deeply for. It was 2009, and I met a rebellious, optimistic girl named Emily. Emily was an addict, and rather than me lifting her out of addiction, she dragged me into it with her. Pills became our daily bread, alcohol our water, and house parties our natural habitat. And after about a year of the most exciting and dangerous times of my life, I proposed and she accepted. The bad news is, we didn't always get along, despite loving each other, and during one particular frat party, I left Emily at the house and staggered over to another nearby pad. I'd been fighting with Emily, and I assumed a little smoke sesh would calm my nerves, and some of my friends were smoking weed. I thought I could come back and talk to her more reasonably later. Little did I know, that was the last time I would ever talk to Emily. About an hour later, I got a call from one of the fraternity brothers telling me to rush back to the house and get Emily out of there. She had passed out on their couch, and they were worried about her, but did not want to deal with her. When I arrived, Emily wasn't moving, and I couldn't get a response from her. She and I both had been drinking and had taken ecstasy that night, but what I didn't know was that she had been taking anything she could get her hands on. Xanax, hydrocodone, any sort of pills, and washing it all down with shots. I panicked and grabbed her in my arms, raced to my small Hyundai Sonata, and drove. I put her in the passenger seat, and I did the only thing I knew to do, race to the hospital. Everything after that feels like a blur. I hardly paid attention to other drivers, which I swerved like obstacles, or road signs, because I knew the way to the ER. My mom used to work there as a nurse. Lights seemed to streak by in a mixture of red, yellows, and greens. But unfortunately, I didn't pay nearly enough attention to the red lights, and rushed out into the middle of an active intersection. I remember seeing the truck's headlights, and watching it impact Emily's side in what seemed like slow motion. I could see the glass shattering, and her limp ragdoll body swaying underneath the seatbelt I'd strapped over her. Then we spun, and I must have slammed into the steering wheel because I woke up to sirens and a broken nose. They say I'm lucky, and that we both could have died that night, and that it wasn't my fault, despite driving while intoxicated, that I wouldn't be charged with manslaughter for my passenger. The autopsy showed that Emily was very likely already gone before the crash even happened, and that the cause of death was an overdose from a dangerous cocktail of chemicals that flooded her body. Nonetheless, I still blamed myself. I asked again and again what would have happened if I would have just stayed and dealt with her and not gone to get high, or what would have happened if I would have smoked less and came back sooner. What if I had paused at that red light, or just driven a little faster? What if, by any means, I had just made it to the hospital? Could they have saved her? It took me many sleepless nights, in fact about 2 years' worth, to finally wear a smile again and defeat the depression and suicidal thoughts that plagued me, and in the end, I realized I will never know. I will never know whether or not there was anything I could have done or not. We were both paying and being victimized by and for our dangerous lifestyle, and it took the death of the woman I loved to get me sober. Now, I ask initially, can we ever truly overcome tragedy? Move on and get past it, maybe? Personally, I don't think that we're supposed to get over it per se, but I do know that we're not supposed to dwell on the negative. We're supposed to live for them, to wake up and wear a smile because they can't anymore, and they wouldn't want us to be sad because of some stupid choices that were made. It may not seem like much, but in the end, a little reason to be happy, to smile, to battle depression may be all it takes to start paving the way to your own road to recovery.